All right, I wanted to talk about the changes to panic and panic eating real quick. Some of the things that are not good, some of the things that are good, some strategy changes that may be in play based on the changes, and then kind of show off a couple of things that are probably going to become some new meta. So the first thing I want to talk about is the way that panic now works. The first thing is first is there's an actual save on the front side before auto-inflicted. So I'm gonna so let's see, Warpire changed out from that. So what I'm gonna do is basically just show you. Let's take off the eat side of it. So let's see what happens with the inflict. All right, so it took it, but now the monster can actually resist. And before, when it auto-inflicted, what would happen was the monster would do a save roll to get rid of panic before it would attack. So you could have a massive panic on the monster, and then it would kill it off, and then you would get hit pretty hard. You wouldn't know if it removed itself until the monster actually tried to attack. Now, if you do past the initial infliction, then the monster will only do its save after it's done attacking. So one of the benefits to the new change is if you inflict a panic, you at least get one turn of lowered monster damage, and then once the monster goes, it does the save roll. So right here is the new verbiage. So you have panicked. The DC means that's the random number generator roll that the monster needs every turn in order to make the save. As with before, it gets a +2 bonus every turn. So every turn that 80.5, the next turn will actually go to 78.5. Then the next turn after that, it'll go to 76.5, and so on and so forth. So that's how panic, the verbiage has changed. That -10 penalty, I think, is based on the creature 72 here. And then it goes from there. Now, I'm going to attack again, and you're going to see. So this time, I'm going to actually use this so it doesn't fail the infliction. Probably won't. So now I'm going to show you another nuanced difference. So it went again. So now we have two lines. It says 2 instances. And then what it's doing is it's now changed from additive to multiplicative. And so you have the 2 instances, and then underneath it shows that 0.622 combined panic. And then what it'll do is literally list it over and over and over and over and over. So that time, as you can see, it said the foe stands strong. So it actually, in this instance, it actually just resisted. So it can resist. So that's a good example there. So here we go to third instance. And as you notice, the DC is changing by 2 every turn. It's helping the monster every turn. That -10 penalty is based on the infliction. It doesn't count this 20 potence here, or if like I had Optico for another 10.99. So basically at this point I have 30. And so it doesn't update there, but it's going to be, I think it's adding 30 points to those numbers. So to basically get 90 something or 100 and something on the roll, it's going to be off the charts difficult. And so this shield here, the Eternal Champion's Defiance, that does both panic and choke potence 20, is a must-have for panic players. Okay, so the other thing too is, I needed to really talk about something. Because this is a multiplicative and a line item stacking status now, every one of those listed, those three that listed there, has its own melee value designation. So the first one, that 0.861 has its own, the 0.723 has its own, the 0.861, the third one has its own, and so on and so forth. Okay, so as a result, don't look at the 0.536 as the total melee value. It's actually going to be much stronger. Before at 0.536, it might have had a certain value, but now at 0.536 has a much stronger value, especially considering the more instances that are inflicted. This is important for a couple of reasons. Number one, if I go to the battle log here, what you're going to find is the monster. So look at unsuccessfully rolled a 56 versus 83, unsuccessfully rolled a 23 versus 77, unsuccessfully rolled a 30 versus 78. So what that means is that the monster is actually making individual save rolls for every line item of panic. So just because panic, let's say you have an 80.5 as the highest, so if the monster rolled a 90, it's not going to kill off the entire set. It's just for that one individual roll. So in terms of random number generator, it's actually in your favor. You're not going to get wholesale removal of panic like you used to. It used to just be one roll, and if it saved it, if it made the save, then it would kill off the entire stack. Now it would have to pass every single roll. So that in of itself has made keeping panic much, much stronger than it used to be. Panic wasn't used before as a defensive status very much compared to choke, because it was so easily removed, and people used panic for panic eating, for enhanced damage, enhanced effects like from phase, and that was the primary usage of it, especially with the auto inflict. But now it's as a defensive status, it just got a lot more powerful, especially in terms of stacked and of chances to inflict. There's enough panic items now, weapons, spells, pets, guests, etc., to the point that you could try to inflict panic on multiple fronts, and the melee value would be so large that if you try to eat panic, it will no longer does it remove the status. So everything's capped at 2 times its actual value. So like a weapon attack is considered 100% value, so a weapon could eat 200% melee value panic. A skill and a spell is 200% melee, so it can eat up to 400%. A guest is 60, so it can eat up to 120, and a pet is 40, and it can eat up to 80% melee. Now, phase was changed to no longer increase damage based on eating panic, and the entire panic eat is now solely based on the heal side. There are some people that are upset with this, and I get why, but I will eventually demonstrate before the end of the video why that's not necessary. Because previously the panic eat was causing more damage and healing, it was sort of double dipping in your capability, and I'll explain all that in a little bit. But what I wanted to show right now, instead of just want to show a basic thing. So my hope is that the Creature 72 lands both hits versus this 100% darkness, and then FaZe is going to eat it. Okay? It can only eat up to 80% panic, which means that the panic status, if it's over 80% melee value, what is left will remain. That is another positive, potentially, in that you can still remain in a defensive status while FaZe or anything else that eats panic, even though those are capped, all the panic's not removed, so its usefulness beyond the eating remains. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just going to attack. Alright, so we're going to have 1 infliction, so that's 958. So actually, it inflicted panic, and then FaZe ate the panic, and there's still panic remaining. All I did was 1 infliction with Creature 72. Let's go again. So we're going to get a second line. So the total is at 781. So FaZe ate that panic, and there's still panic left. So even just a basic Creature 72 attack, FaZe, and if you notice, I'm fully healed here. I'm staying fully healed here. So let's do this. I'll just use this for a couple of instances. So here we go. So as you can see, just a basic inflict is considered more than 80% melee value for some reason. So even though FaZe 8 panic, I still have a 13% reduction in monster damage. I'm gonna go again, and this will actually increase and increase and increase. So now instead of 13%, now I'm at 16%. So the amount of melee percent that Creature 72 can inflict is greater than 80%. This is even more important with something like Celerity. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and eat some SP. Here, I'll just eat some potions, so I want to show something here real quick. So now we're going to have multiple inflicts. And now FaZe is going twice. And because there's still panic there, it's actually going to eat maximum panic both attacks. As you probably saw, the damage is not good. But if I'm able to heal back SP enough, then I can use skills more often. So the damage from that's no longer there from FaZe, you can actually use it for skills. I want to demonstrate this one more time. Let's see if we can prime Chaos Orb over to 100. Here we go. Alright, so we've got panic still present. So this time it looks like that panic was removed, which shouldn't happen that often. I guess Creature 72's not landing hits. Let's see what happens. Got both hits. So now we've got a 773. FaZe ate it, and this now becomes, I guess it went down to 773 afterwards. Let's see. So basically, panic went from 773 to 916 there. So again, there's more than 80% melee value potential in just Creature 72. So So what that means is probably if you're inflicting panic in any way, shape, or form, it's going to exceed 80% melee value. At least for now, the way they've got this set up. So here I am. I've basically eaten all my SP. So all I want to do here, let's see what happens here. So we've got 736. And that's it. I healed back a shit ton of SP here. Here we go again. So now I've got a second line. Now we're down to 437. So I just went from 437 to 521 after two rounds there. So I want to see what happens here with Creature 72 going twice. So it's down to 309, 246, and Phase is going to go twice, full healing my SP and MP, and Panic only went up to 338. So the amount of melee value that's here right now is so large that you're not really able to get rid of Panic. In fact, I'm going to grab this guy. This is going to be a skill. So for 490 SP, it can eat up to 400% melee Panic. So if I had to guess, this is much larger than 400% melee, but we'll find out. It's got a total of 338. So we're going to eat it. And some Panic still remained. I don't know if you caught that. So that was way in excess of 400% melee. And Panic still remained. And I only had 3 lines. You can get out. You can do things like let's see. Let's do this. If you wanted to in the beginning, which it's not necessary. So what I'm going to do is I got 2 Creature 72s. And then I've got a Celerity, right? So I'm going to actually do this Seeing Red. By the way, Seeing Red used to not work versus fire enemies, and Jinia's Orb Power used to not work versus energy enemies. Those restrictions were removed. That was kind of an old standard. Thank you, staff, for removing that. So this is all the way down to 44.7 Panic. And then so this is going to go twice, and then the pet's going to go twice. So we've got 4 instances, and actually it's going to be 5 instances with the spell there. For whatever reason, so that stack right there is the 32. It doesn't count that 44, so the total stack is actually going to be lower than that. And again, let's see if some Panic remains. It does, and quite a bit actually. So you can stack Panic so large in terms of melee value that even 400% melee can't even kill off the amount of Panic that's there. That may need to be changed. Staff may look at that and realize there's something wrong. I really think that they're going to go there, but we'll see in time. What this Panic stack change has now done is it's created a situation where you can now be in a defensive armor and you just inflict Panic the whole time, and you'll keep your MP and SP healed up to the point that you can just use skills. So I'm going to demonstrate. So all I'm going to do, so this armor will again do celerity on the pet and guest. Because the amount of panic that's going to be there is so large, Phase is going to actually eat panic twice, whereas before she would eat panic once. So her second turn was sort of really very weak. As a result, using celerity when panic is present with Phase just got far, 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 far more powerful in terms of resource healing. And I'm going to demonstrate. So right now, I have no SP. I'm going to actually reduce this down to the 600s, 673. Now part of this strategy, again, is using Optico Misc. And then, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cast Seeing Red. Okay? Well, actually, I'm not going to, because it'll kill off my upkeep here. So instead, I'll just attack with a panic weapon, the Phase weapon. So you have the instances. So here we go, Phase. 1,000 heal on MP. And then 572. So I just went from nothing here to all this extra resources, and I still have a 588 panic that's still there. Phase can go 2 more times right now, and there would still be panic present. Could go again, more panic, more panic, more panic, more panic. It's down to 153, up to 196, now to 238. My SP is fully healed. My MP is up there. So what this setup is doing is just infinite skills. So again, Phase no longer increasing damage. It's fine because this SP heal now means you're just using skills the whole time. So here we go. I just did 2,500 damage. And even though Phase is not doing anything, as you can see, my SP and MP are healed right back. And I can just cast skills and cast skills. And when I'm done with that, I can cast skills. All the while keeping panic. As you can see, panic was down to 20%. You could also do things such as, maybe as a mage, I want to set up some chokes and some blinds for defense. I'll still inflict all these crazy panics. Phase is going to go twice. See if it fully heals me. So now I'm back at full MP, nearly full SP. And then I can just cast Mandate again. Bard of War will go twice. I've got panic stacking as well as my choke stacking. I'm going to be crazy defensive, especially since this shield has potence for both. And this time I'm full heal SP, almost full heal MP. Alright, so let's just do Mandate again. So now I've got 18% choke and almost an 88 blind. So they can't hit me anymore. And because the panic is greater than what Phase is able to even eat, I'm just healing and healing. I'm losing almost no hit points. Doesn't even matter at this point. Maybe I want to cast a skill. So that's lots of damage. What if I want to cast a skill again? Okay, I'll just wait for Phase to give me all these SP again. There we go. Can't be hit by anything. Let's just do it over again. Who cares if my full defensive armor has such shitty damage when I can just cast a skill every time? So we got full heal and everything. Still can't do shit to me. This is the game on easy mode. Even though Phase is capped now, it don't really matter because the roll just went into healing. and I'm relying on Optico with 300 luck. And I'm also, in this case, I have Unapoka, which is honestly, it's just basically infinite. I used to carry both of these spells all the time. Now, if I wanted to, I could just decide to get rid of one. I still have Panic at 341, so 34%. That's stacking with the Choke of 18% and the Blind of 88%. So even though I've got these defensive playstyles, it's not really that defensive because look what I have. I just have the skill. That's not that defensive. In fact, you're getting the best of both worlds. So I wanted to show off the new Infernal Armor with this very setup. With this change, this is infinite also. So you get 99 SP back if all your hand hits land, I believe. So you got the 231 plus the Charisma, and then you have for 305 SP. Yep, 305. Alright, so that's like over 700 total SP per turn. That's per turn. That's pretty crazy. When you include this guy here, it's over 300 SP. So I'm just going to attack once and initiate the celerity, which if I have the SP is guaranteed. So I'm just going to regenerate back everything. Most of the time. Every now and again you get lucky, you get unlucky. So I'm only down to this. So if I do need to use Essence Orb to give me a couple clicks, that's fine, because the poison is going to heal me back that I used here. Again, not much damage. That's just fine because all the damage is being transferred to the poison. Phase will go twice. Hopefully I get some decent heals here. There we go. Okay, so I just got hit for like 300 damage. So what? The poison is now up to 800 damage. So that's 800 heal. I'm literally finishing most of these fights using this armor and the setup with near full or completely full bars in all three. Hits me for 57, who cares, because I just healed for 678. Again, who cares if phase is not hitting for massive damage anymore, because its heals are fueling more spellcasts and skills. I could literally do this all day. The only thing is that boss boosts will tend to reject a lot of this stuff, and that's why you need the potencies. So, I haven't really done too much bossing with this, but for normal everyday gameplay, this is the game on easy mode, to be honest with you. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to Bard of War, and then instead of doing the Panic here, see, I could do Havarti Blade and its celerities will stack. I could just do Royal Void Charge as an option. But instead, I'm just going to do this. 490 SP. I'm going to go twice. So let's see if I regenerate back 490 SP. That's 109 that time. Unlucky on the Optico. 434. So it paid for itself. Oh, I'm healing myself now. I could just do this all day. It's basically not too dissimilar from the Infernal Champion set using this weapon. Just a different armor and a different method. Again. And they're not doing too much damage to me because Panic remains. There's 578 at this point. Panic will not go down really crazy low until you actually use like a spell. Genie's Orbit Power or Seeing Red will actually drive it way down. So it just went from 673. Actually, it did reject it right now. That's pretty... That doesn't happen too often with all these potencies. Oh, I take that back. I forgot that the Mana Overload's not added to that stack. It's separate. So it is there. As you can see, I'm basically any damage I'm taking, I'm healing it back. Almost full heal here. You could probably run overcharged nukes with this setup and with the Bard of War, and I'd bet you anything this setup would just heal that shit back. I mean, I can literally just stack time killers if I wanted to every time and just cast your spell, and then you're just getting lucky strikes out of time killers, plus you're getting the extra luck for your pet lucky strikes. So again, it's basically infinite MP and SP for your spells and your skills. And you could just be in a defensive armor, or you could be in a specialty armor. It really doesn't matter. I could just do this from the beginning. You have all this stacking. It's going to go twice most of the time. Full heal my MP. It's basically infinite MP. You'll never run out. You could cast this over and over and over if you wanted to, just to drive the amount of panic down. Again, phase isn't doing a lot of damage because it's fueling more damage through your spells and skills. And the total melee value, I mean, I basically have almost all my hit points, mana, and SP, and I still have a 389 panic in place. I could literally just stack this damn thing every turn if I wanted to. I could do this every turn if I wanted to. I could do this every turn if I wanted to. I could do this every turn if I wanted to. And especially in Bard of War. So pet and guest celerity items with this setup with Creature 72 just received an unbelievably massive boost. I mean, what is that? 3,000 to 4,000 damage? And I guarantee you that phase was going to heal back everything. Like I said, you could just do this. So time killers, in my opinion, using time killer stacking with this setup just received a massive boost. So in this instance, I didn't even do Creature 72. And we'll see what kind of outcome I get. So it only went from 57 to 71. So from 57 to 71% is considered 80% melee. That's probably not accurate, but that's all it did. Let's do this again. So we have one. So let's see what happens here. I'm just healing back crazy amounts of resources. Almost no damage to me. Panic is taking care of it. I don't give a shit about what my resistances are. I just want to inflict panic. Again, this might not work as well versus bosses. I haven't tried it too much. And I also demonstrated to you that Royal Void Charge is eating Panic, but there's still so much melee value there it doesn't even clear it. Anyway, so that's the new changes to how everything works. If you were to read it on paper, you would think that everything took a massive nerf. But then when you get out into the game and you test it and you use it and you try to play with how it actually works, you just realize that actually everything just got buffed. It created a whole new meta that staff's going to end up having to go in and fix later. But there you have it.